Welcome back. Updates on the deadly shooting in the U.S. state of Georgia. Now, police have arrested the father of the 14-year-old boy accused of killing 2 students and 2 teachers after he opened fire at a high school. The 54-year-old father, identified as Colin Gray, is facing 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 of cruelty to children. The director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chris Jose, says that the charges were directly connected to his son's actions in allowing him to possess a weapon.
In coordination with the District Attorney Brad Smith, the GBI has arrested Colin Gray, age 54, in connection to the shooting here at Appalachia High School. Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a time for all of us as a community and a state to come together and remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across the state to contact a member of their school faculty with any and all concerns of suspicious activity that they may see. Local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work together around the clock in relation to this incident here and any other incidents that come up around this state that raise concern to the safety of our students, faculty, and citizens here in the state of Georgia. Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has called for renewing of a United Nations mandate for an international security mission to help Haiti fight gang violence in the country. The mission's mandate, first approved for 12 months, is set to expire at the start of October, but has been seeing few results, with few troops on ground and far less funding than hoped. Mr. Blinken said he planned to convene a ministerial meeting at the UN General Assembly this month to encourage more financial contributions as well as renew the mission's update and mandate.
The mission itself needs to be renewed, and that's what we're working on right now. But we also want to make sure that we have something that is reliable, that's sustainable, and we'll look at every option to do that. So a peacekeeping operation would be one such option. I think there are others. The United States is also committed to using this foundation of security to support and unlock the potential of the Haitian people. We're the largest contributor of humanitarian assistance to Haiti. That includes an additional $45 million in humanitarian aid that I'm announcing today, bringing the total USA to over $210 million this year. The United States has been actively working to secure this additional support. In a couple of weeks, we'll be at the United Nations for the General Assembly. I intend to convene a ministerial meeting to encourage greater contributions to help meet Haiti's security needs, its economic needs, its humanitarian needs, as well as to renew the mission's mandate, which expires in early October. I just say again, I think the first thing to get right is to make sure that the security foundation is there, and that's what's happening now with the MSS and the Haitian National Police. A lot more work to be done, but it's starting to move. And then we also want to make sure that Haiti is back on a clear democratic track, and that means elections next year.
Elsewhere, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has welcomed Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida at the presidential office in Seoul. Mr. Kishida's trip to South Korea comes as the 2 leaders seek to seal their newfound partnership. It also comes as Mr. Kishida plans to step down from office this month. The visit emphasized the need to continue efforts to improve bilateral ties and also expressing sympathy for Koreans who suffered during Japan's 1910 to 1945 colonial rule. A quick check on the weather now. Tropical Typhoon Yagi has made landfall in the southern Chinese province of Hainan, forcing the evacuations of more than 400,000 people. Meteorologists have warned that the storm may cause catastrophic damage as it's currently gathering winds of up to 240 kilometers per hour. Trains, boats and flights have been suspended for a second day in the province, while schools have also been shut as a result of the severe weather condition. Storm Yagi has doubled in strength after wreaking havoc and killing more than 16 people in northern Philippines early this week. And Typhoon Yagi seems unrelenting as it's expected to also make landfall in the southeastern part of Vietnam. Thousands of people have evacuated to temporary shelters ahead of the superstorm, which would hit the country later on today. The typhoon has been described as one of the year's most powerful storms, as it's equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane. According to Vietnam's Civil Aviation Authority, airports in the coastal cities of Quang Ninh and Haiphong are also expected to be shut in the early hours of Saturday up till 4 p.m. the same day. Meanwhile, firefighters and residents are battling a wildfire near Ecuador's capital for a second day as emergency services evacuated several people from homes near the blaze in Tumaco. No casualties have been reported from the fire on the northern outskirts of Quito. Residents also rushed to move their pets and livestock to safety. The weather has not been of great help either, with gusting winds fanning the blaze. According to Quito's mayor, Pavel Munoz Lopez, 4 fires broke out on Wednesday and only one was brought under control. Because of the fires now, the air quality has been considerably affected in the city, especially in the north center. And here in Africa, parents are still waiting for word of the status of their children after a fire engulfed the hillside and the Rasha Academy in Yeri County. 17 pupils have died, 16 of them burnt beyond recognition as 14 other children are in hospital with injuries. Officials say several children are still unaccounted for. The private primary school caters to around 824 children with ages ranging from 6 to 14 years old. Kenya's President William Ruto describes the incident as horrific and devastating, calling for an investigation into its cause. He adds that those responsible will be held to account. Police say a team of investigators, including forensic experts, have been deployed to the school. Cyrus Mbati, Kenyan journalist, joins us now for more on this. Cyrus, a sad day in Kenya at this time. We understand some children are still unaccounted for at this time. What's the reason for this?
Thank you for having me in the show. I to put it very clearly, unaccounted for, but what we know is that they are dead. All were burnt beyond recognition. It may take time for the parents to recognize or to identify them, which may require some DNA sampling and analysis. What we understand is that there are almost 156 pupils in that dormitory at the time of the fire. And some pupils are claiming that it was closed from outside when the fire broke out. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined so far, but the fact that it was closed from outside and given their age, it raises so many questions why, if there was any caretaker in that dormitory at that time of the fire, because there was a requirement that such kind of dwellings must have adults to take care of the pupils whenever they sleep overnight.
Right. You did say, I first made comments that, some pupils were unaccounted for, and you said that, the latest is that they are dead. So what's the update on the casualty figures?
Well, the casualty figures remain 17. Those are the ones who are dead. 27 are in hospital. 7 others who are missing have been reunited with their families. It seems that when the fire broke out, some managed to sneak out of the dormitory. They ran out. They called their parents. How they managed, or the villagers came and rescued them. So by this evening, they are saying that it's only 17 who cannot be accounted for. So it means that the ones who are missing. So we presume, or rather, we know that indeed their bodies in the mortuary, 17 of them, those are the ones who are unaccounted for. 27 and hospital, that 7 have been reunited with the families. The families are broken down, as you can put it, you can very clearly see, because as it stands, no one is able to explain to the parents what happened and why and how. The parents are devastated. They are demanding answers. What happened? Why? Now, no one can be able to come out because, as we speak, the deputy president of the country, Rigathi Gachagua, was at the scene, and he was unable to give answers to the parents who were there. The Minister for Interior was also at the scene. He was unable to explain to the parents. He was just saying, "Be patient, be patient." These people, they are missing their children. They need their children. So it's just a wait and see what will happen. Of course, in the end, they'll be told their loved ones are no more, but it's a devastating news to receive at any moment.
Right. And as we mentioned in the beginning, it was alleged that, the facilities were locked from the outside and, we're dealing with children. And we also heard that, it was possible that there was no a supervisor at the time of the fire who could have, let the children out. The investigations have been launched into the cause. Do we know, what happened to the, supposed supervisors who were supposed to be on ground at that time?
Yeah, we understand that a very big team of police officers, forensic experts, police, that's the officials from the Kenya Power, they are on the ground. They have listed the people to be questioned. They include the supervisors who are supposed to take care of the children, the school administrators, the so-called dormitory managers. They are supposed to be grilled. And that will come out after maybe they have ascertained the preliminaries of what happened, was it arson, was it an electric fault. We understand they have a list of around 8 people who they are supposed to question to know what happened at what time, why, and how. Because some of the children who ran out, they were naked. So it means that the mayor were broke out and they half naked rather. It means that they were sleeping half naked. So by the time they ran out, it was too late for them. And given that the fire brigade arrived at the scene at around 3 a.m., it means that the level of response, if any, it was poor because by then 17 people that died.
This is not the first incident of its kind in Kenya, where the country has had incidents, like this before, especially in schools. I mean, why is this so?
Well, we've had similar fire incidents. 2-3 years ago, we had a similar incident where 10 people, rather students, were killed. In 2001, we had an incident where we had 6-7 children were killed. We've had small other fire incidents here, and there are reports which are compiled with so many recommendations on how the way forward. But it seems that people are not being listened, or there's no implementation of the same. So we are going back again. So the Minister for Interior was at the scene today, and they promised action if and when the reports, rather the investigation are completed. So we hope that there will be action be taken at the right time.
Right, Kenyan journalist Cyrus Mbati, thank you for those updates.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov has hit out at French authorities, calling his arrest in relation to allegations of insufficient moderation on the messaging app misguided. In his first public statement since he was detained, he denied claims that Telegram is some sort of an anarchic paradise as absolutely untrue. He said that French authorities should have approached his company with their complaints rather than detaining him. Mr. Durov was arrested on August 25 at an airport north of Paris. He has since been placed under formal investigation over suspected complicity in allowing illicit transactions, drug trafficking, fraud, and the spread of child sex abuse images to flourish on his site. In France, being put under formal investigation does not imply guilt or necessarily result in a trial, but it indicates that judges consider there's enough of a case to proceed with an investigation. And when we return, stray dogs in costumes hit the runway alongside designers and models in New York City. You want to stick around for this one? Do join us again. Welcome back. Europe's largest car company, Volkswagen, is now considering closing some factories in Germany. For the first time in its 88-year history, the company is looking to make radical changes to cut costs, and this announcement has put thousands of jobs at risk in the country. For more on this, we are joined by DW correspondent Warda Imran in Berlin. Warda, great to see you. What's Volkswagen planning to do at this time?
Thanks for having me. Well, the company announced that they have to expand their cost-cutting measures and that closing factories here in Germany is on the table. Now, this is quite unprecedented since Volkswagen is such a big industrial player for Germany and has employed hundreds of thousands of people. According to the chief financial officer of the company, there are at least 2 factories that could be shut. We don't have any information on where these are, but that's what's on the table. And what's more is that Volkswagen is also rolling back job guarantees that would have kept workers safe until 2029. These have been in place since 1994. So closing factories, maybe mass layoffs, that seems to be the plan. And this has created a lot of tension between Volkswagen and its workers.
All the time, Warda. Why is this announcement such a worrying situation for Germans?
Yeah, businesses go through fluctuations, which often result in closures. That's true. It's nothing new. However, to understand why this has struck such a chord here with people here, you have to see Volkswagen as bigger than just a car company. It is one of the main economic engines of the German economy, and it has long stood the test of time. The fact that now Volkswagen is pursuing layoffs shows that Germany is struggling. Once upon a time, a Volkswagen job was considered the safest employment with high job security and a guarantee you're good. But now all of this is collapsing, and it's definitely tough for the workers, but it's also a bitter realization for the whole country because it confirms that Germany is really struggling economically and having a hard time bouncing back.
And should Germans be worried at this time about the ailing or struggling economy, as you so put it? So could that be the reason behind Volkswagen's decision to make these changes?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts in this story. The fact that the European market was never really the same after the COVID-19 pandemic played a big role. Then there's also the obvious competition from American and Chinese automakers. There's also the fact that EV sales have slumped a lot here in Germany and even Europe as a whole, which means that the market is just not there the way it was. Intense competition from big names like BYD or NIO, who are expanding their European presence, has put a lot of pressure on legacy automakers like Volkswagen. Sales in Germany aren't great, and VW's biggest market traditionally was China. Now, the competition there has evolved into a price war, and VW is having a hard time competing. So the fact that the company has to cut costs is not surprising. I think people are more taken aback by the sheer size of all these changes.
Warda, thanks again. Staying in Europe, the British government says the prison population in England and Wales have reached a record high on Friday ahead of a planned expansion of the early release of prisoners this month aimed at tackling an overcrowding crisis. Britain has Western Europe's highest rate of incarceration, according to the World Prison Brief database, and faces a crisis after a new building program failed to keep track with tougher sentencing laws that have fueled a growing prison population. Figures published by the Ministry of Justice showed the prison population was now at 88,521. That's up from 88,350 a week earlier. Video published by the BBC shows conditions in His Majesty's Pentonville prison in London. The prison officer working at the prison says the lack of space means it just gets really messy sometimes. Under the early release plan, which was approved by Parliament and is due to come into force on September 10, most prisoners will become eligible for release after serving 40% of their sentences behind bars, down from 50% as currently being practiced.
The gang affiliation, gang issues are the biggest reasons why we have so many probably people in jail. So it ends up us trying to stop them, just trying to stop the fight. That's how I broke both my wrists, just trying to stop it. That wasn't even yeah, it just gets really messy sometimes, and they're quite small space.
Well, Nigeria should look to follow the example of China in having a rapid, sustainable and inclusive growth year after year so as to lift people out of poverty on a massive scale. This is according to Nigeria's Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who was speaking during an exclusive interview on the channel's television on the sidelines of the 2024 Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing.
Around 1990, I think the GDP per capita of Nigeria was actually ahead of China's, but they have since left us behind. And the lesson is that we have a lot of catching up to do, but they have done it in a relatively few number of years, in a couple of decades or so. And so that should be our own objective. That should be the example that we must look to follow, that we must have rapid, sustained and inclusive growth year after year for a decade, for 2 decades, and then that will take us to the kind of modernity, the kind of advance, the kind of lifting of people out of poverty on a massive scale. They have achieved it here, and that indeed is the objective of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In terms of the domestic economy, all the signs are that, yes, the corner is being turned. GDP in two quarters has grown, has increased, and it is above population growth. So it means that there is progress in that important front. Likewise, inflation has started coming down. The reserves are building up. The trade balance is positive. The current account is positive. So we don't have any balance of payments problem as such. And of course, we are looking to for the exchange rate to continue to stabilize. And eventually, that should be able to lead to a lowering of interest rates, which again would give a boost to domestic investment. And the key, what China has done and what is achieved, the key is investment, domestic investment, attraction of foreign direct investment that creates jobs, that increases productivity and grows the economy and reduces poverty. So that is the clear goal and target, and to date there has been progress, and we just need a bigger, more momentum in the direction that we are already going. And one of the things that has given confidence at this time is we have just completed I would say in the completion stages of an important domestic issue of dollar bonds. And what that does is that it shows the resilience. The success of it will show the resilience of the Nigerian economy and the ability of Nigerians to depend on their own resources, the ability of the government to attract with its policies savings of Nigerians from abroad. Whether they be Nigerians living in Nigeria who are keeping money abroad, or whether it be Nigerians living abroad who now decide to save some of their money in the Nigerian economy. It is the ability to attract resources for investment that is the key to rapid development.
Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, speaking in an exclusive interview with Channels Television in Beijing, China. Finally on the program, dogs in costumes hit the runway at the Sunny Hall in New York City for the second annual Impact Catwalk Fur Baby Fashion Show. 21 dogs, along with designers, models and charities, joined the unique fashion show, which is raising funds for the animal welfare organization. CEO of Elysia Karen Floyd says that this is about promoting the adoption of animals. Models and show participants were wearing outfits designed by various brands, including Tommy Hilfiger, Karina Nina and Jonathan Kine, as well as by Ukrainian designer Helinka Shovich. Ms. Shovich is dressed a model and dog in dark green and white outfits and represented the When Life Sucks Foundation at the show, which is a U.S. nonprofit organization helping veterans. She said she participated The show, to raise awareness for the situation in Ukraine and ask for support, New York Fashion Week, will run from September 6 up till September 11.
About 50% of the dogs that walk the runway are actually rescues. And some of the women will bring their dogs individually, but this is about promoting the adoption of animals, while also looking at, again, the 5 core areas that the Elysian Circle women are drawn to, which is women, children, service, animals, and the environment. So each of those sectors was represented, and each of those sectors really helped to raise awareness.
I loved it, and I truly enjoyed it. Catwalk for a Baby gives many charities an opportunity to showcase their work, and the emphasis on the animals, the dogs, I think is really wonderful. My dog, Rosita, is a rescue, and I represented New York Women's Foundation, a board that I serve on. And what does New York Women's Foundation do? We empower women out of poverty.
It was an amazing show today, so much fun. I performed, I opened the show with my new song, Dance Floor Emergency, which is dropping at midnight. It's my first time performing it. I'm so grateful that I was here for such an amazing cause and charity, and Fashion Week in New York, it's just so exciting. And of course with my little baby CJ, all of the puppies, all the dogs were so well dressed, so impressed, wow. And yeah, it was a great show. I had my angel wings with CJ representing Gabriel Angel Foundation for Cancer Research, and I was dressed by Tommy Hilfiger, and it was a great, amazing day.
Well, I'm actually really came from Ukraine. So I did represent the One Life Sucks, which is very related to Ukrainian. What's going on now with the war, so we need support, and think that the organization, The Life Sucks, that help people. And I'm very happy to be here on this stage to work with the company and have a beautiful model. And this is a big and huge experience for me. And I hope the organization I do represent the service, I could help some.
I think this show is meaningful because not only are people adopting dogs, they are also donating to the charities, and you don't have to be here in New York City. You can go online and donate to all these charities and foundations.
That's our show today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joke Rogers. Bye for now.